Not everyone who was close to a deceased person can file a wrongful death lawsuit in California. My name is Mulmar Reed of Reed Law. California's wrongful death laws are specific about who is eligible to bring this type of claim into court. The following individuals are typically allowed to file a wrongful death lawsuit. Number 1, surviving spouses or domestic partners. Number 2, children. Number 3, dependent minors. Any minors who lived with the deceased and who depended on them for at least half of their financial support may also be eligible under certain circumstances. Number 4, other heirs. In the absence of a spouse, domestic partner, or kids, parents, or siblings, or other extended family members may be eligible to file a lawsuit, especially if they were financially dependent on the deceased. California's laws also allow representatives of the deceased estate to file the claim on behalf of the estate. But what I've seen for most individuals who aren't wealthy is that they don't typically have an estate, right? If someone dies without having a bunch of earnings, property, or assets to give away, then typically I see a lot of those individuals die intestate or without a will or without an estate. And in those cases, there usually isn't an estate representative, and it usually tends to be a spouse, a domestic partner, a child of the deceased, and or a parent. Those are the 3 groups that I see filing wrongful death claims most of the time, but there are some instances where there are no spouses, no kids, or any parents, and then I typically see a sibling or someone else step into the place of a spouse, a kid, or a parent, right? So those are the individuals that can and typically do bring wrongful death suits in California. How long will it take you to settle your wrongful death claim? The time it takes to settle a wrongful death claim can vary significantly based on the complexity of the case and the willingness of the insurance companies to reach an agreement. On average, a wrongful death case can take anywhere from several months to years to settle. Several factors can influence this particular timeline. Number 1, liability disputes. If the defendant is contesting liability, it may take longer to resolve the case as investigations, depositions, and expert testimony are often required. Number 2, the complexity of damages. Calculating damages in a wrongful death case is not always straightforward. Economic losses, such as future lost income or benefits, may require expert input to determine accurately. The negotiations. In many cases, the settlements are negotiated between the attorneys and the insurance companies. If negotiations break down, the case may proceed to trial, further delaying a resolution. How much will your wrongful death claim be worth? The value of a wrongful death claim varies greatly depending on the specific circumstances of your case. Several key factors can influence how much your claim will be worth. The economic damages. These damages include quantifiable financial losses, such as funeral and burial costs, lost future earnings the deceased would have provided, loss of benefits, such as health insurance or retirement contributions, medical bills incurred before the death of the deceased. Economic damages are typically calculated based on the deceased's age, earning potential, and the financial support they provided to their family. As far as non-economic damages, these damages compensate for the emotional and psychological impact on the surviving family members, including loss of companionship, care, and affection, loss of guidance and nurturing, particularly for minor children, emotional pain and suffering caused by the death. Non-economic damages are more subjective and can vary widely from case to case. Unfortunately, there is no fixed formula for determining these losses, but courts and juries often rely on testimony from family members, psychologists, and other experts to assess the impact of the loss. The defendant's conduct is also another factor. In some cases, the nature of the defendant's conduct may influence the settlement amount. For instance, if the defendant's actions were particularly reckless or malicious, it may lead to a higher settlement amount, although punitive damages are typically uncommon in most California wrongful death cases. Given the many factors involved, there is no standard value for a wrongful death claim. Each case is unique, and an experienced attorney can help provide a realistic estimate based on the specific facts of the case. How are wrongful death settlements paid out? Wrongful death settlements can be paid out in two main ways: lump sum payments and structured settlements. For lump sum payments, this is when the total settlement amount is paid in one single payment. Lump sum payments provide immediate financial relief to the family and can be used for various needs such as funeral expenses, legal costs, and future financial security. However, receiving a large sum all at once requires careful financial planning to ensure that it lasts for the long term, particularly if the deceased was the primary breadwinner. In a structured settlement, the payment is distributed in smaller, regular installments over a set period. This can provide a more stable and predictable source of income for surviving family members. Structured settlements may be particularly useful when long-term financial support is needed, such as for minor children or dependents of the deceased. The choice between these options typically depends on the needs of the family and how they wish to manage the funds. My name is Mulmar Reed. If you need help with your wrongful death case, please call us at 323-545-6858.